All right, we are here with new Seahawks tight end Pharaoh Brown, and pleasure to get to meet you.
Good to meet you, too.
What has this been like here? You've been around a little bit. You've been to a couple different teams, and you were in my old hometown last year, New England. We'll talk about that in a minute. But what are the initial impressions of being here in Seattle?
It's been amazing. Great experience. The locker room is great. The coaches is great. We're building a great foundation, and no stone is being unturned. You know, we getting to know each other, really going through the building blocks and building something special. So it's been great.
I heard Coach say after practice that there's only about 20% of the installation in. So what are you guys working on as an offense? What are you learning right now?
I think we're learning everything. So the staff, starting from the staff, they never been together. So it's kind of like we all starting together and learning this thing step by steps. And, you know, Grubbs, it seems like he has a lot of plays and a lot of ideas. So it kind of feel like you never know when it's going to stop because it's always changing. But I think as we continue to build, it's going to be a very high-powered offense.
What does a studying process look like for a tight end in a new system?
For us, it's always challenging for tight ends. I kind of tell like our young guys because, you know, at the tight end, you got to know mostly everything behind the quarterback. You know, we in protections, we in the run game, we in the passing concept. So you kind of got to know it all. And then, you know, when you got two tight ends, you know, you got to know those positions as well. So the learning curve for the tight ends is up there with right behind the quarterbacks, I would say. So for me, it's just about doing it and looking at it and just studying, honestly.
You study it all on iPad? Like, is it all done that way? Are you looking at film? Are you looking at pictures? Do you draw it yourself to try to, you know, understand where, you know, if you can draw it, you can master it? What does that look like?
I mean, my first thing is I done had a new offense every year. So my whole thing, as soon as I get the playbook, I just get all the formations down, right? That's the first thing is get lined up. So I just study the formations, I draw them down, and I kind of got like a photographic memory. So once I see it, I'm just kind of there already. So that's kind of how to do it, and then I take steps from there.
Your photographic memory, is that true in other things or just in football?
In everything. Like, I'm such a quick learner. I mean, I learned how to drive a stick in like 7 minutes. Like,
where do you find a stick shift?
Man, I was in Mexico and I had to pick my wife up from the airport, and somebody lent me a car. And down there, sticks is like the thing.
Yeah.
And my wife had missed her flight, so she was like, "You better be at the airport. You don't want to show up to the airport late."
No, not with your wife.
So it was like an hour and 30 minutes drive, and I'm like, okay, I know how to get there. So I'm kind of like, you know, playing about a thing. She's gonna be in baggage claim for a nice 30 minutes, and I get out there and it's a stick, and I'm like,
uh-oh.
The first thing I was like, okay, I can drive a stick. I know how to ride a dirt bike. Couldn't start it up. I'm like, is this thing electric? So then I watched a 7-minute YouTube video and then went on my way to, you know, drive.
How many times you stall it?
Stalled about 4 times. The clutch was still attacked though by the time when I got up there. So
you didn't break the clutch.
Yeah, we didn't break the clutch. So,
I get that. I bought my first car with stick shift. I didn't know how to drive it. I learned in the parking lot of the of the dealership, and off I went. So you're talking to Pharaoh Brown here. So you get to meet Mike McDonald. You decide to come here. I got to imagine you've been to a few different places. You've been in Cleveland, right? You were in New England last year. So you've been around Bill Belichick. What does this feel like compared to some of the other coaching styles you've seen?
It's different, but I mean, I personally like Mike. Just the way that he comes, you know, he's not coming like, you know, it's his word, the highway, but he's also standing strong on like his beliefs. And, you know, he got a thing. It's like, you know, the principles is the principles, right? And the methods, that's what can change. So, you know, it's different ways to do things, and he's open to that. But at the end of the day, you know, it has to be done. It has to get done, right? So, I mean, I love that. And just the way he's put together everything here has been amazing. And the way everything is just so cohesive and everybody being on the same page, the communication, you know, those are things that kind of get looked over and like some people outside of the buildings and fans don't really see. But, you know, that's the difference between championship teams and non-playoff teams. It's
been a big story here, or a big argument in the last couple of weeks in the media. You grew up in Cleveland, right? Mm-hmm. So you grew up during the LeBron era in Cleveland. You're 6'7"?
6'7".
6'7". Could you play in the NBA if you needed to?
I definitely can probably play in the NBA. I'm probably signing like a 10-day contract once I'm done. My buddy is the GM of the Mavericks, so go Mavericks. I told him once I'm done, I need a little 10-day.
Yeah, just a little 10-day.
Yeah, a little 10-day. I'm physical, go in there and just rebound the ball, kick it. I ain't going to go in and, I haven't dribbled or shot the ball in a minute, but, I can go in there and lock down some people for sure,
Well, it's nice to have you here in Seattle. You're back in the Northwest. You went to Oregon, right? Mm-hmm. So it's nice to have you back. The weather, everything should feel pretty familiar to you. Did you come up to Seattle much when you were in Oregon other than to play UW?
No, never. Just we played here and being up in Pullman, but, the weather is identical. Other than here, you got all the great views, man. Yeah. Wherever you turn the corner, you just see the water and stuff.
It's not bad sitting out there and see the bald eagles flying around, is it?
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. I told him if I had 3 touchdowns, I'm going to go jump in that lake.
Yeah?
Yeah. That's a bet we got going.
All I know is that if that 3rd touchdown pass is coming, you may want to think about knocking it down instead of catching it. I don't know if I want to go swimming in that lake, depending on the weather. Pharaoh, it's nice to meet you. Thank you so much for sitting down with me. Appreciate it.
Nice to meet you, too. Go Hawks.